It's actually in Bill's story. So just a couple little paragraphs I like. That's the only reason I'm reading them. My friend suggested what then seemed a novel idea. He said, "Why don't you choose your own conception of God?" That statement hit me hard. It melted the icy intellectual mountain in whose shadow I had lived and shivered many years. I stood in the sunlight at last. It was only a matter of being willing to believe in a power greater than myself. Nothing more was required of me to make my beginning. I saw that growth could start from that point, upon a foundation of complete willingness. I might build what I saw in my friend. Would I have it? Of course I would. I'll stop there, Paul, unless you want me to continue.
No, that's fine, Kath. Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, yeah, this is a major, Paul, nice to see everyone. Grateful member of recovery. Nice to see everybody. Obviously, this is a very big part of the program because of a lot of ideas, old ideas and stuff people have concerning around the idea of God and, from their upbringing and everything else. And a lot of times the followers of God don't leave a good impression. So the God that they seem to be following is questioned. So, and this was a way of allowing people who would have that problem to still enter the program, because there was so much faith in the program that it worked. They would they'd try to as open as wide they could the gate, because they knew once the person got in, things could change that would convince the person of what they were trying to share with them about. Yeah. So this thing of having a higher power of your own understanding. Now, I don't believe that's the lifelong projection. In the way I read some of the book, it sounds like this is just the beginning. Of course, once you start getting in contact with this presence, this conscious presence, your ideas of it are going to change, yes? Not based on you, but based on its presence in your life. Yeah, so my progression was, because I didn't have a problem with the idea of God. I had a problem with recognizing what was playing God in my life. And that needed to be cleared up. But I started with, okay, a higher power of my own understanding. And then as I stayed in the programming, it evolved to getting to a point of having a higher power of its own understanding. And then it stopped there. Yeah. So how it had to evolve to a point of really working was quick. And was what it was. It was an idea of putting my own stamp on this power that was going to keep me sober seemed insane because of the myopic way I looked at things. And so going through that process, it led me to realize I'd rather have a higher power of its own understanding and let it tell me what it's about instead of me trying to tell it what I want it to be about. Yeah. So that was, it's almost as if you're on a horse and then there's different postures. So you get on the horse, and after riding a while, you may change how you ride, how you sit, because maybe your ass is getting hit in the coccyx or something. So, but you're on the horse. Yeah. And then your posture while you're riding the horse can change. That suits the riding of the horse and the most efficient way to travel and stuff like that. I don't know what it will be for you. It may work for you to have a higher power of your own understanding, far out. Yeah. If that's the case, then it's working. That's the point. Yeah. Far out. To me, I thought it would be quite limited to have a higher power of my own understanding when it's not even my own understanding. Yeah. There's a previous thing playing God, And it's really going to severely diminish the effect of when you meet God, so to speak. Yes. So, yeah. But it's a beautiful thing. Again, that's why they have a whole chapter of we agnostics, because in a way, it can be very off-putting when he says here very clearly, it was only a matter of being willing to believe in a power greater than myself. Nothing more was required of me to make my beginning. It's not saying God there, obviously. It's a power greater than myself. Now, the way I read myself, I let's say my seems to represent me, but self doesn't. So yeah, it's sort of like my dog. It's not, I'm not talking about me, myself. Yes. So a higher power that's more powerful than that self. And in the big book on page 64, they make us a very clear distinction between self and us. So I would say the us would be would be represented in the statement my, which is an ignorant move. Yeah. So myself. But maybe if you could just see it's not yourself, and then you would see you need a higher power greater than self. That's all. That's the key. Yeah. That's all you need for you to start. Now you can name it or not name it. It can be the people in recovery. It can be this, it can be that, as long as it's not self. I mean, it's so freaking obvious after a while that this idea of self is the nexus of the problem. Yeah. And so what allows it to be the nexus of the problem is the act of being identified as self. I do not believe you are consciously in the act of being identified as self. I believe we're listening to something that is in the act of being identified as self. In the mental realm, and it's being narrated, the mental realm, yeah? Its take on the physical realm, the emotional realm, the spiritual realm is being narrated from a mental position, yeah? And of course, the narration is going to be defined by where it's being narrated from, which is the mental condition. And then for the mental condition is playing God around the topic of God, yeah? Obviously. And so the mental conditions nexus is this idea of being self. Yeah. Yeah. Now, in all of its processes, there always are being in the act of being identified as self. Yeah. When you think about you think about you as a thing, a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. You're not thinking about yourself as spirit, obviously. How could you? It's just impossible. Yeah. The only time you can think yourself about spirit is as a thing. Yeah, it doesn't work. So, so the premise is the narration of our life in the mental, let's say, echo chamber is a mental one based on the idea that we're a thing. And then this thing is attributed, a lot of shit is attributed to this thing that the thing has really nothing to do with. Like, I'm growing my own hair, which you're not. Yeah. I'm thinking, all this stuff. Yes. It's so preposterous. It won't even cross certain lines. Like I'm digesting the food, or I'm beating the heart, or pumping the blood. Yes. Or growing the nails. It's some shit so fucking obvious. It won't cross that line. But in the subtle arena, it claims the shit out of everything. These are my emotions. This is my thoughts. This is, yes. Yeah. So, yeah, just anything, as long as it's not you. Find a power, and it can be the group. It has been for many people, yeah? It can be nature. It can be going to the beach. It could be taking a walk in the park. These things access a sense of something greater than self, which is what brings relief from self. Yeah. The dilemma is the self regroups and claims to be the one who's getting the relief. So it goes on and on and on. And we find ourselves in a very strange pickle, which is we're we're identified as that which we'd like to get out of. Yeah. So it's difficult to really live up to the statement, which is nothing more is required of me to make my beginning, but the willingness to believe that a power greater than that there's a power greater than myself. Yeah. We're usually believing self is the greater power. It's just the way it goes. Yeah. To the point where self is going to now administer or create the hierarchy of what are greater powers than it, seen from it. Yeah. So it plays God concerning the topic of God. Yeah. We have the little examples. Did God tell you he wants you to have rose-scented candles on and lower lights and incense and, a calm, beautiful music to meet it? No, that's your requirements. Yeah. You think you got to get the right condition, the right setting, the right music, the right time of day, right? This and that. It's all about you in the meaning of God. How about let it be about God? And you'll be surprised of how quickly you meet God, to the point that you don't even meet it. It's already here. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to have the candles. They're nice. I like candles. But yeah, you see, all the preparations and requirements to meet God doesn't seem to be on God's side. It seemed to be on our side, or that power side. Yeah. That should be noted. Yeah. That's the playing God. And it says the most important thing in the big book, which is a linear process, which is next is the third step. First is quit playing God. So if quit playing God is put before the third step, it's a requirement in a way for the third step to be totally utilized. Or that which is playing God is going to limit the effects of your decision to turn your will and life over to God, or whatever you want to call it. Yes? You see? So first, before we get into that principle, we need to see something is playing God, and it's going to play God with that principle. Yeah. It's going to say, I've surrendered, and its idea of surrender is transactional. Yeah. And circumstantial. As soon as the heat's off, it takes over again. Yeah. And then when the shit hits the fan, I surrender. And then heat's off. I'm not going to surrender my idea of meeting a girl. I want to meet a girl. So I'm going to manage that shit. And then it doesn't work. I surrender. Yeah. This isn't surrender. That's a transaction, isn't it? So to me, quit playing God, there's a fundamental trap there, because if without knowing it, something that you're relying on to tell you the truth and the way and be your guide in this life, the mental condition may be in the act of playing God. Yeah. And so when you read, I've got to quit playing God, of course, you rely on the head to come up with, how can I, quit playing God? And that which is playing God cannot quit playing God. Yeah. If it attempts to quit playing God, that's playing God, isn't it? You can't get out of it. So how you quit playing God, in my view, is you lose interest in that which is playing God. Yeah. You quit playing God. You let it play God. Yeah. Because it's going to continue to play God, but it's not you playing God anymore, and you lose interest in it. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And when you lose interest in it, and you are the source of the power of this imagined God, the mental state, that God weakens, yeah, and doesn't look as opaque, and you start seeing through it quite easily, yes? Because it's not the one that's giving it the meaning. We're giving it the meaning of being God, yeah, by our faith in it, yes? So now you've realized what that faith has produced is a defeat by this thing called self. And how did it defeat you? By playing God. Yeah. It used you to express its manifestations, all the while hidden in plain sight because you keep claiming its manifestations as yours. How are you going to get out of the cause of the problem when you're identifying with it? Yeah. So it's simple. Do an inventory on its manifestations and you'll start seeing its role in your life. Yeah. Which will open up to the role of the real, so the higher power's role in life. And the real higher power can stump the lower power. It's just that simple. Yeah. It's been proven over and over again. People who could not get sober have been sober for 40 years. Yes. Yeah. It's constant evidence in our program of miracles. Yeah. So there isn't like, it's not like even, it's not even, it's like a heavyweight fighting a flyweight. Yes. The flyweight can be fast and tricky, but it's going to get knocked out. Yeah, sooner or later. Yeah. So, yeah. However it is with you, just tell the truth about what's playing the higher power in your concerns and your topic of a higher power. Yeah, I think that's even more important. Before you go out and start choosing what you think is your higher power, just check out if there's a higher power already sitting in the throne, so to speak. Yes, a charlatan. Yeah, maybe by seeing you're not that which you had trust in, that trust will move into something that's trustworthy, which we call the infinite. You know. Yeah. So I understand ideas about God bother people. They haven't bothered me, so I don't have an intimate experience of it, but I can understand it. So higher power, it doesn't say God there. It says just a willingness to believe in a higher power greater than self. Yeah. There you go. Now you're in. Follow a few suggestions. Try not to do one thing, which is to drink or use. Stay on the operating table. Don't get up. Don't play doctor. It's going to be pretty good. Yeah. And I guarantee you, when you get relief, the relief will be seen as from self, not as self. Yeah. It'll be the direction of all of your little meanderings and desires and paths that you may enter are being given a misdirection when you're trying to get free as self, when the freedom or the relief is from self. Yeah. It's relieve us of the bondage of self. It's not please give self the great relief. It's relieve us of the bondage of self, for that's what we're seeking. Unfortunately, knowing it or not, we're usually seeking relief from self as self. Yeah. And this is what jackpots us. Yes. You get caught in that sublime conundrum, self can't get out of self. Yeah. We've explored tons of ways, yes, to get out of self. How many of us have really sat down and explored the possibility you're not in self? This is the invitation of these talks, really. Just maybe you're not in what you think you have to get out of. Maybe that's the best way to get out of it, is realizing you're not in it. Yes? You are not choosing self. You're listening to a program that has self at the center of it. Yeah. And in that program, it's already a done deal. You're not becoming a self. You are one. Yes. So basically, it neuters so many possibilities with that historical assumption. That's not true. Yeah. Yeah. If you believe you're something, the only way you can believe is to try to get out of it. If you see you're not that something, that's the real out. Yeah. That's what I found in the program. About 7 years sober. And it's been solid ever since. It's 36 years now, or 35, something like that. Yeah. A pretty damn good solution in the realm of the solution of recovery. A pretty damn good solution. Yeah. I think you really need a diagnosis of the wrong if in most cases you can appear to be the wrong. Yeah. So it's important to get a diagnosis so that confusion can get cleared up. Yeah. You don't think you're cancer, do you? If you get cancer, I don't think I'm cold when I get a cold. Yeah. But in this case, you're thinking you are the disease. You're thinking as the disease, really. Yeah. That's a unique condition. Yeah. It's not you're something and some condition is imposing itself on you. That which is imposing itself on you, you're calling you. This is a very unique condition based on the act of being identified as something. Yeah. We don't have that in diseases in most cases. We don't. You don't become identified. You could maybe become identified as someone who has cancer, but you don't become identified as cancer. Yes. In this case, it goes it's way up the road. Yeah. The drug you're taking is what's saying that it's the one taking all the drugs. That's not a usual problem solution dynamic, is it? No, it isn't. Yeah. This is a questioning the sense of a basis of our life, which is life based on self-centeredness. We're questioning that. We're not questioning how it's doing. We're questioning is who's doing it. Is it you or something foreign to you? If it's foreign to you, hallelujah. If it's you, get fucking busy. Start working. It's gonna be, you're gonna be having to build a dam trying to stop a raging river. It's good luck. Yeah, you're gonna be at it for quite a while probably. But if you see it as not you, the great migration will be loss of interest. Yeah, hallelujah. You know, what does it say? The problem will not exist for you. You'll not be cocky. You'll not be afraid. Yes, it just doesn't exist for you. Yeah, I have that experience when I was younger doing these talks. No matter what condition I was in, mentally, emotionally, if I showed up at the meeting, I was relieved of those conditions for an hour or so, completely forgot all of that shit while I was engaged in the meeting. And then they'd come back maybe 5 or 10 minutes later. Yeah, but something was revealed by their absence. It made me down the road question their presence. For that to so easily be absent just because of a shift of intention and interest, I realized something. Yeah, that their meaning is coming from here. Yeah, their ability to stick with me is they don't have the adhesive. I'm giving them the adhesive through the mind. I had no idea of that until I did. Yeah, it was fucking a rude awakening. Yeah, doesn't that happen? You do something you really like, you forget all that shit you were thinking of, seemingly worried about for hours. Yes. Jump into some cold water. Your constant object of fascination, you will be dismissed. The cold rush will overwhelm the head. Yeah. You'll be free from that second or minute. Yeah. It's obviously proven day in and day out. You continue when it stops. Yeah. How can you get over that evidence? Yeah. This idea of you stops a lot and you continue. Yeah. Have you ever stopped and it continued? No, never. Yeah. The relationship isn't what we think. It needs us. It needs us. Why would self defeat us other than for that reason? Do you think it's really, it's just hell bent on defeating us? I don't believe so. I believe it just wants this to exist. Yeah. And unfortunately, it has to use our existence to do that. And yeah, there it goes. It probably believes it's helping us quite a lot. It probably does. You know how you rationalize shit? I'm sure it's rationalized trying to take you over. I'm sure it has. Just like you rationalized when you did something stupid, and it's sort of unbearable to sit with it. You go, oh, well, everyone does it, whatever. You know what I mean? You don't think those traits aren't there? It's doing it all day. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to suck you dry. This is the way it goes. Yeah. I don't want to think about what you want to think about. I don't want to do what you want to do. I don't want to be in the moment. I want to think about me in past and future moments. Yeah. Sorry, you lose. It's insane. There's not a thing in there. I'm using it to project an imagery, but it's nice to see it as a foreign thing. It'll help you. It really will. Because if you think it's a part of you, it doesn't think it's a part of you. It thinks it's all of you. Yeah. So you may think it's only a part of you. That part of you thinks it's all of you. You got to be careful. Yeah. It's going to be eating. It's like a roommate. It's going to be eating your food. It's going to be doing tons of shit. It's got a huge sense of entitlement. It thinks it's entitled to this life. And without wisdom, without understanding, it does. Yes, doesn't it? People would die for it to be right. It's insane. It comes up with some crazy idea and you'll die for that idea because you're so wedded to it. Yeah. And tons of shit gets ruined and you get to be alone and you're right about it. Yeah. You got all the resentments pointed at all the stories. Oh, yes, but you're fucking alone. And alone with that sucks, obviously. If you saw self as a thing, it has a lot of stocks on sleeping pills and shit. Yeah. I mean, people can't even get a good night's rest. The head's so fucking crazy. It probably has a giant stock portfolio with all those companies that are selling fucking whatever they are. I got to go to sleep. Let me get the pills. Jesus Christ. Wasn't it the requirement going to sleep was being tired? It used to be the case. This thing doesn't seem to get tired, does it? No. I'm just going to take a nap. No, you're not. You've got to be doing a lot of shit. I'm tired. I'm tired of you, motherfucker. That's what. Well, I could go off. It's just hilarious, really. It's hilarious, but it's painful. But, I have good news. My nephew got in touch with me. He's been in a program for 4.5 months, which is great. I thought he was back out there, and he had been, but then I guess they don't let him use he can't call out, but he finally could, so he called me. So that's great. He's subdued. That's what he needs. He needs to be in a program, or there's no chance for a day of sobriety yet. So fantastic. Yeah, I'm stoked about that. Yep. That's the beautiful thing here. Yeah. Your chances don't run out. AA's door is always open. Mind-boggling. Doesn't care how much you fucked up or for how long. Just put that all down and come in and get some sanctuary. Yes. All right. Anyone? Kathleen, we got Kurt. Kurt's got a big thumb up there.
Well, then, Kurt, it is it.
No,
I don't see
I was
Kurt.
just thumbs up on what you said, you know.
Oh, okay. I got
Good.
confused because I thought it was John who had his hand
Yeah,
up.
John's got his hand.
John. He had his thumb up. He has his hand
But Kurt
up.
had his thumb up.
Yeah.
I
That's
have
like,
peace sign up. I have peace.
oh, there you go.
All
Yeah.
right. Go ahead, John.
Paul, are you willing to field a non-duality question? I know we're in recovery now.
All right. Yes, I'm willing. Let's see what happens.
Okay, a long time ago, it was a matter of weeks, you said something like, and I may be misquoting you, the subject and the object are the same, and we are neither one of those. Then you said, I hope you can see it. Then I felt like you became the policeman in my head because I can't grasp this. I can't. I've written it backwards and forwards, and I still don't understand it. I've tried,
That's great. So that's it. So it's like a teasing test. It's working. Yes. Your head can't figure it out. That's the good news. What happens if your head can't figure stuff out enough? You're going to realize it's failed. Yes. It's not up to the task that somehow it's assigned itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not leading you to the promised land. It doesn't know where the fuck the promised land is. Yeah, that's the beauty of all this stuff, is to frustrate that which you're not so that you see it's not you.
You did it.
Yeah, great. I'm happy about that. I am, extremely. That's the whole point. Unless you see it sometimes in the extreme, you won't notice it. You got to let it come out of the weeds where it's really influential and see the emperor with no clothes. Meaning, yes, it's assigned itself. It's not up to the task. Let's just admit the defeat. And it's not your defeat. That's the great news. It's that which you've relied on has failed. Hallelujah. Now that which you relied on is not what you are. You can rely on something else. So we were relying on self to the point we were taking ourselves to be that. And now we're going to rely on the infinite. That's the whole statement of AA. Perhaps there's a better way. Instead of trusting finite self, we're going to trust the infinite. Yeah. So we're not finite self in a way. Yeah. And maybe you'll find out that you're the infinite. But it's you that's the pivot point. There seems to be this vague you that's not pictured as a body and this and that has been firm in faith in this idea of self, and now hopefully is being convinced that has failed and it's not of you. And now that vague whatever is now trusting infinite. Yeah. Now that vague whatever is the great mystery. Yeah. I don't think you can know yourself if you're being what you are. Yeah. And that being is incomprehensible, unknowable, ununderstandable. So understand what can be understood. Yeah. Study what can be studied. Yeah. You don't need to study about you. You're it. Let it play out. Yeah. Being doesn't need a resume. It's completed. It's not looking for a job. It's doing its job, which is being. Yeah. And it's the greatest mystery. But a lot of shit isn't that mysterious. You can see it. You can see mental activity. You can. Yeah. And you can see the pattern of mental activity. And you can see let's say the schematics of a system called self-centeredness. You can see it because you're not in it. Yeah. And when you see through your own experience in life how you seemingly have failed, but it's actually it has failed, yeah, that you will separate from this idea of it, and that you will move somewhere else that works. Yeah, you're not self. You're not. You may be looking through self-centeredness. You may be living as it, but you're not it. Yeah. What you are can't be captured. It can be attracted. Yeah. So the head has a huge fucking broadcast company, a lot of advertising. Yeah. A lot of false evidence. And it's a good marketer. It truly is. It can keep you somewhat in the dark, but for so how long? Yeah. If you have a way of life that led us to being a real addict and an alcoholic, we have a great opportunity others may not have. The contrast can be so extreme, you finally see shit that you weren't seeing. Yeah. And there can be, you come to a reckoning and you realize, you deeply realize, you're convinced that any life run on self-will is not going to be successful, including yours. Yeah. It's not saying yourself. It's you. There's a life that we represent, and self has been the captain of it. This idea of self, it's a mental activity. And we have been led the way it wanted to go. And look at the evidence. It has failed us. Do you really expect it would be the definition of insanity to try to paint legs on the snake, to try to make it a fucking service animal when its nature is of a snake? When the mental activity has a parasitical nature and its underlying condition is agitation? Yeah. It's not about you. It's about this idea of self. Yeah. Is it working? We don't need any more evidence, do we? I mean, it's like beating a dead horse. We have tons of evidence. You just have to see it with a new pair of glasses. Just check it out. Yeah. Why are everyone afraid of doing inventories, yet they do inventories every day of other people? Why? Why don't they want, especially if they're going to have a rapt audience of one to listen to their bullshit for 4 hours? I mean, you would think, wow, I've been hoping to meet someone at a bar that I don't have to buy every one of their drinks for them to sit and listen to me. This person's not asking for anything. Going to sit here all day if it takes it. Wow, let me get writing. Yeah, shit. No, because that thing that has you does not want to have you see your role in things, because you're going to see its role in things. You are. And it's written all over the book. What did they talk about? The fourth column. The characteristics of what has defeated you. 2 of the descriptions start with the word self. Self-seeking and frightened and selfish. Give me a break. Do you need any more clues of what has defeated you? It's all over the book. It's probably the word that's used the most in the book is probably self. More than God, I'd imagine. Yeah. Don't you get it? And then why in our community do they come up with a great saying, which is self can't get out of self? Other than that conclusion came from observation, massive amount of observation from people in the community, which was about getting free from the bondage of self. And they proclaimed self can't get out of self. They saw, maybe not so clearly, the exact nature of the problem. We're identified as that which we want to get out of. How's it going to work? Yeah. The getting out of it does not come before the identification as it. The identification as it is what causes the getting out of it to have a completely different meaning than we think. It reinforces the idea of self. It doesn't relieve the idea of self. Yeah? How's that? Have you experienced that? You're trying to get out of self did not relieve you from the bondage of self. It reinforced the bondage of self. You may have gotten 5-10 minutes, shit like that, but that's an extreme. To shoot cocaine to a point where you get relief from self for 5 or 10 minutes could kill you, could kill the body, yes? Or at least in this case, get the body arrested quite a lot. Yeah. Yet in that condition, it seemed to make sense. If I could just have a minute or two out of it, I was willing to pay any consequence for that. Yes? I mean, the severity of the disease when you see it, but we never see it in a clear, naked way. We're in the act of calling ourselves that which we want to get out of. It handcuffs us, and it uses our attempts to get out to reinforce at the end. It's amazing, eh? I don't believe you're going to come to know that until you see it. Yeah. I don't.
What I see is, even though I try to set my attitude at the beginning of the day, I lapse into trying to manage things.
All right, Johnny. The next time you see you lapsing into the trying to manage these things, just greet that you. Don't worry about the rest of the sentence. Greet that you as not you. Yeah. So when it says you are trying, you lapse into this and this and that, that may be self-story. It's not your story. Yeah. Bring in that bit of disclaimer when you're listening to the fucking false evidence being played. Yeah. You need a disclaimer, because if the you is swallowed, you're going to take real everything that comes after it. That you lapsed into something and then you want to lapse out of it. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Every one of his ships are launched with that you. As soon as you don't have the disclaimer there and there's an assumption it's talking about you, then the whole fucking parade goes on over and over, fucking over again. Yeah. You don't stop the parade, at the period of the sentence. You stop it at its first declaration. I'm feeling, I lapse into this. I do that. Da. That is the act of being identified as self, and it affects everything that's said after it. It does. Every fucking thing. Yeah. It's just like when a you that you're not says, I'm not that you. It's tinny. It doesn't fucking work. Yes? It's the same saying. It's the same saying. It's just like the cat's out of the bag. As soon as the you goes, oh, everyone agrees it's me. And then, okay, that me, this is the whole point of all this fucking bullshit running all day. That me is established. Let's just riff. Oh, I lapsed into disconnectedness and then I did this. You didn't, John. The head was active. That's not your activity. This is the primary point of these talks, is to bring about a disclaimer. We're not into argument with it. We're not wrestling with it. We're just disclaiming something that's claimed by our lazy listening to all this shit, which is when you listen to it, it's sort of like someone puts you on, like when I was loaded once and I had a lot of money, my friend would put a paper out where it needed my signature to release some cash. Yeah. Now, I wasn't in a condition that I was going to read it. It just was pushed in front of me, gave me the pen. I gave, okay, the guy could take out $5,000, whatever. I had no idea what I was doing. Yes. This is the laziness of all of us. We're sitting there. The head goes, all right, I'm going to propose you are lapsing into something. Blah, 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 blah. Now, to get the real drama of lapsing into something, you got to buy the you. So here, could you write, just consent to the you, and then, all right, we'll try to deal with the lapsing into shit. Yes? This is what it's like, isn't it? You've got to be the disclaimer. You're the yay, you got to be the nay. You have to. No one's going to do it fucking for you. You've got to allow awareness to be suited with the right utensil, which is negating, disclaiming. Just disclaiming that fucking lazy assumption. When it says you, it means me. Just please, please, please. Just let it insert itself. It's not a practice. Just every once in a while, insert it in, where before you get on the horse of I've lapsed and everything, just stop at the you, and you'll see it start wiggling. because it's bullshit. Yes. It's made up some fucking imaginary condition, and it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall. It doesn't care. It just wants one of them to stick, just throw it, and it wants you to take in, to bite the fucking bait of you. That's all. And we do quite fucking seemingly innocently or ignorantly. Yeah. And then all the weight goes into the lapsing, and I've got to change this. And the imaginary weight of you has been established. And all the trying to get out of lapsing establishes the you that lapsed. Yes? Do you see it? I can't break it down any clearer. That's what's going on. That was 1 second of activity. That's the imprint of all of the fucking activity. That's selfing right there. It slips into you. Once that you's in the door, it goes off. Yeah, I've been disconnected forever. Whatever. It's just incredible. It wraps up shit in time. I'm never going to get it. All this. I'm happy it's never going to get it. If it got it, it would shit all over it. It would. That's the beauty of this message. You, as what you're not, is never going to get it. You, as what you're not, is never going to get it. Hallelujah. Never. So when it starts talking about I had it and then I lost it, of course, yeah, you lose interest in it, because just like when I was in that Turkey and at that rug emporium, and I did not have any place to live on this earth. I was trucking around the world, and those people tried to sell me rugs, and they were the greatest salespeople I've ever saw. I swear, they were fucking good. I was not going to buy a rug because I had a very clear understanding I did not have an FLOOR. There was nowhere where I could put a beautiful rug. And then they said, well, we can fold it up to a point where you can put it in your backpack, because I know, Mr. Paul, you're going to Thailand next. And I said, hey, listen, bro, I'm not going to take an Oriental rug in my backpack to Thailand. I'm just not. It's like 85 degrees there. I don't need an Oriental rug. Yeah. So I could have sat there for 3 hours. I was not going to buy it. Or fucking 30 years, I was not going to buy it, because I had a knowing, not knowledge, a knowing that I had no flaw. Yes, this was what we're hoping. Instead of that flaw that everything is about you, we're going to slip in another flaw. It's not about you. Yeah, how about that? Yeah, is it that much to ask? 800,000 times it goes, it's you, just to throw a few disclaimers in, because you don't need a lot, because it's the fucking truth. You don't have to something has to keep claiming shit that's not truthful. That's how you get this. That's how you start to believing it's true. They constantly have to fucking keep saying it. But truth doesn't have to be repeated constantly. It's the truth. A couple of disclaimers can do it. You start recognizing you're not that's riffing in the fucking head. Yes, it's not about you. So it's a beautiful example. Beautiful. The you, there was a lot of meaning in there, and then lapsing into whatever. Yes, let's just have the disclaimer, throw it in there every once in a while. Hey, maybe I'm not that you. Yeah, and then you'll lose interest in lapsing and coming back and shit like that. Yes, you'll realize all the stories of being disconnected and connected and disconnected. Nothing's changed. You're always here, John. Always. Yeah, yes, all the things of thinking we can change and this and that. Really, the basics does not change. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, something, and there's. What's seeing is not a seer. What's hearing is not a hearer. What's feeling is not a feeler. The feeler tag comes after the feeling, comes after this. The seer tag comes after the seeing, not before it. We are an active verb. We're an event. We're being. That's what we are. The head wants us to be seen as a noun. Yeah. And it just plays and plays and plays its little noun verb fucking scenario, and we usually just consent to the noun. And then a lot of meaning is given to the verbs, especially when they're happening to the particular noun you're identified as. I don't give a shit when someone else is lapsing, do I? I give a shit if I'm lapsing because I think I shouldn't be lapsing because I should know better, and on and on and on. Yes. There's so much meaning being thrown around. It's incredible. Yeah. And it pivots on this idea of you. That's where the relief is when you lose interest in self. This is where you lose interest in self, John. You lose interest in self as at the you point, not at the lapsing. I'm not going to get interested or not interested in lapsing. Fuck that. It doesn't work. The you. You lose interest in that you being you, and then you lose interest in its fucking scenarios. You do. I'm telling you, I'm reverse engineering it for you. I've had relief. So I recognize it. And then there's a relief that's before this. Yeah. Not the relief that you get after it when someone talks you from the cliff of lapsing or not. Yeah. But the relief that's before all this shenanigans. That's the peace that passeth all understanding. Because that is a peace you don't arrive at. It's available now. Yeah. The problem is we don't seem to have the ability to entertain it or to enjoy it at the moment because we're busy entertaining and seemingly in an excruciating way enjoying the selfing. Yes. To a fucking addictive level. Seriously. Yeah. So thank you, John, so much for that. You don't have to understand everything. You just understand you're not that. You. Yeah. And I think they'll set off the domino effect. Yeah. And the domino effect does not need the dominoes all lined up. Have you ever seen those usually? The thing can go like this and that, and yet they all get knocked down. How does that? Usually you would think they'd have to all be in a row. They're not. Bing, all the little fucking burrowing shenanigans the head has to kind of confuse you. You don't have to follow the road they travel, just follow the domino, and then you see the trail. Yes? And what has defeated you has been the ideation of the mental condition with this idea of self. The doer, the thinker, the feeler, the taster, the toucher. And most of us are trying to get out of self as self. The doer, the thinker, the feeler, the taster, the toucher. Has it worked? No. Yeah. Will it work? I don't think so.
Is my trying to understand this management?
Of course it is.
But
it's not you trying to manage it. That's the beauty of it. The head that's managing us is trying to manage it. Most of us are living from a self-centered position. Self is not us. We're not living from an us position, even though the us position is the underlying and only position. There's a manufactured mental one called self-centeredness. Most of us are at the effect of seeing life through that lens. Yes. And it will put a lot of attention on a lot of shit and wants to keep all the attention off of that you. Yeah. The you that you're not, that it presents to be you. That's all. We're trying to stop all the interest in what comes after. Let's be interested, is there that before? I do not believe there's a you that's lapsing into shit. I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Not believe it. There may be lapsing into shit, but there's no fucking you.
So I'm faced with a conundrum, and I throw down a disclaimer. What is functioning? What should it be like if I lose interest in the self?
You'll find out, bro. There's no shoulds. What you lose interest in is shoulds. You lose a lot of interest in shoulds. We look at everything as right angles and linear and through time. Yeah. That's why we're blind to what is, because it's not right angled, linear, and of time. Yeah. You can look through what you are. You can't see what you are. It's space. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, it is a trying to figure shit out. Obviously, is raw managing. Of course, you believe because there's faith in the intellect that if you knew it, you'd be able to get it. Yeah. You don't ride the horse by knowing the horse. You ride the horse by getting on the horse. Yeah. And then you'll come to some knowledge about riding horses. Yeah. Before I ride, I have to have a lot of knowledge how to ride horses. You'll find out how to ride when you're on a horse. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of faith in intellect. It's not you. But intellect, like we read last night at the meeting, knowledge is limited, but knowing isn't. Yeah. Knowing. Major juice. Knowledge gets to be stale. Yeah. It becomes something else to carry around. Knowing is very cool. So yeah. You're convinced something has failed you, bro. Maybe just put the disclaimer, it's not you. Throw it in there. Maybe you'll see it much more clearly when you stop calling it you, and you'll see what's actually defeating you, seemingly. Yeah.
I hesitate to say I will try.
No, just do it. Try it. Just throw it in there. Just like something's broadcasting. It's playing at an audience. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't see that you were going to lapse into something on your forehead. It wasn't playing to us. It was being heard inside, yeah, in an echo chamber. Yes. So
Yep.
There must be an audience there. That's sort of an unsuspected inner resource. We have no idea of it. And if we don't have any idea of it, we don't think it's even there. But that's us. Yeah. So the head is playing to the audience of us to convince us that we're the head's presentation of this you. That's all. Yeah. We're in the habit of giving it consent, so we don't even read the papers that are put in front. We just sign off. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. We allow it to tell us how we are, how we were, how we're going to be. We fucking, in a way, gotten lazy, so to speak. Yeah. And for many of us, it's failed utterly. Yeah. And our natural desire to get out of such a failed thing got mutated into reinforcing the thing we wanted to get out of, man. So we're really fucking confused. And and all that confusion grows underneath this umbrella, this mental mushroom of the idea that you're this thing. Yes, this thing that's the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the taster, and toucher. Everyone else thinks they're the thing. You think you're the thing. So this is a questioning that, yes. Is the noun doing the verb, or is the verb claimed and then a noun's implied? I would say the latter. Yeah, I would think it's important to know how the road goes. Yes. You're not going to go anywhere if you're driving backwards. You're going to go somewhere, but not where you thought you were. If you're taking the rear view mirror to be the windshield, you're fucking, there's a need for a correction there. I swear. There's so little mirror, you got to make up the rest. And that's what the head does. It has you driving in a tunnel, and it takes care of the scenery and the future, the past, and shit like that. Yeah. Paints its little story, and there you go. For some of us, it utterly failed, man. And that had great value, great value. When I say and read, any life run on self-will can hardly be a success, I have a lot of intimate feelings that get triggered. That is not a scholastic statement. It's not a debate topic. That's an intimate revelation about this life that has been lived. Any life, this one included, run on self-will can hardly be a success. And that's truly a humble understatement. It can be fucking unbelievable. Yeah. So it does not say any life run by John. It says any life, yeah, run on self-will. That's a completely different statement. It's not reaffirming that you fucked up, John. It's affirming that self is something other than you. If you have the eyes to read it that way, and we do here, that's what we put out. Yeah. You have not defeated you. Self has defeated you. And then we could go into an absolute non-duality shit, but yeah, we're on the dog shit level. We're on the curb, the spiritual curb. Yeah. We just want to get on the sidewalk. So let's just tell the truth. In AA parlance, there's only two possibilities: trusting the infinite or trusting the finite. There's going to be trust in something. Yeah. And that trust is going to manifest by the vehicle it's put in. We know what faith in the thought system can produce: anxiety, lots of fucking anxiety. Yeah. What was the natural resource that produced the anxiety? It was not anxiety, it was trust. It was faith. Yes. We are not the factory that manufactures misery. We're a factory, can manufacture a lot of shit. It's dependent on who's running the factory, what product line is going to be made there. Under the auspices of self-centeredness, we get its products: resentments, mental anxiety, misery. Yeah, that's not the only product that can be produced through us. Yeah.
You know what? This is the real deal here. My God. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you for listening. I appreciate the platform. It would be like a bird in a fucking I need to sing. I can't I can't yeah. I just don't believe in the norm as being normal. I just don't. I don't think to blend in into the crowd is the best move at all times. I just don't. If I liked where the crowd was going and how we treated each other, yeah, but I don't. I don't like I don't like to see people who have a long-term sobriety still have guilt and shame based on being the doer of the shit that they didn't do. They were compelled to do. When are they going to be relieved of that bondage of self as the doer of shit you really had nothing to do with? We do the same shit every other addict and alcoholic does. They're not unique behaviors. They're driven behaviors. When a life has been driven to such an extreme level by self, it starts looking like what our behavior looks like, yeah? And the actions that we do and the places we go, yeah? We always see us at all of our unique destinations. There's always some of us there, yeah? Yeah. Something's driving us. If you say, I don't want to be driven by anything, you're going to be driven. That's the situation here. Yeah. So let's get over that idea that freedom is not being driven by anything. You're going to be driven by something. Yeah. So let's just, hey, maybe there's a different possibility. I know what it's like to be driven by self. What's it going to be like by driven by a higher power? I'm sure many of us are super, super, super stoked about that, because the results are in. Perhaps there's a better way, is the better way. There's no need for perhaps. Yeah, yeah. So recognize what you're not in the constant broadcasts about what you are. Really, just start recognizing it's not about you. You'll lose interest in it. And then the rest of your life, you'll notice what you're gaining interest in. It's great. Yeah. Yeah. Did you gain a lot of interest in things when you were shooting coke? I didn't gain much interest in anything. It was all pinpointed, all focused. One thing, getting that shot of coke, the rush, yeah? and then maybe some objects to facilitate my mental fantasies. Yeah.
I never had the experience of coke. I've always just gotten loaded.
Yes, well, that's the thing. What you find out when you're loaded is fucking, you don't even find out you're loaded when you're loaded. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, I passed.
I mean, it's, you don't find out much at all. A lot of people find out a lot about you, but you don't find out much about you.
That object on the floor.
It's funny. I never, I was always loved the ocean. Was I surfing on coke? No, I wasn't. Did I go anywhere near daylight? No. It wasn't the beach. The sun was what was driving me crazy. Yeah. Oh, I love to live with a beautiful view with blankets over every window. I'm so happy those carpenters left a big opening at the bottom of the door so I could peer out of it to see if I can see anyone coming. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's living a big life. That's large, living large. You hole up in your closet. Oh, fucking unbelievable. Do you think you really chose to go there? Do you really think you did that? That you were the cause, you came up with it, you were the delivery? I definitely believe you're the transportation for the experiences. I do not believe you're the driver of the experiences. Yes? And I don't care. You could fucking interrogate me. I never fucking admit that. It's not true. It's not my truth or the truth. I was taken over by shit. The same shit that took you over. That's why we end up in the same 3 parking spaces, institution, jails, and death. We have the same driver. Yeah. It overrides if you're a Ford and I'm a Chevy. That doesn't matter. The same driver overrides all the unique differences of us, doesn't it? And we're driven to the same fucking place, left in the same conditions, and still bewildered. Why did I do all this? We're not getting the knowledge through all the doing. It's not working. Maybe hear about it and maybe apply this understanding to your little explorations of your past. And maybe you'll see it wasn't you that did this shit. And maybe you'll be finally left off that fucking hook. Yeah. And that sentence that seems to be self-imposed, you can start living free from that sentence. Yes. Even though self is still trying to impose it, you've had enough of that fucking shit. Yeah. 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 So, yeah, I'm so happy that we have a solution. There is a solution. First of all, without that, this shit would all be academic. But because we have a solution, you have the opportunity, because there is a solution, to fucking be courageous and look at the fucking exact nature of shit. You can, yeah? Because there's a solution in it. Yeah. It's not going to be all for no sake. It's going to actually work. Yeah. Yeah. This is what AA's given us, the greatest thing. There is a solution. Yeah. When you're in a condition and you don't believe there's a solution, do you want to have a lot of information about that condition? No. You just want to have the wherewithal to keep fucking distracting yourself and denying it, and just keep living, like living in the room without seeing the elephant in it. Yeah. But because there is a solution, that safeguard isn't a safeguard. It's time to tell the truth. Check it out. Yeah. Yeah. I cannot take this stuff with, I hate myself. I do not believe anyone here hates themselves. I believe the self can hate you. Definitely. I do. I do not believe you can hate you. I just don't believe that. I do not. Yeah. I haven't met many animals that are in that condition. My dog does not hate herself. No, doesn't. She has a rational explanation. I'm going to play ball with her every day. She doesn't feel like I shouldn't play ball with her. And she's very, very direct and asks me all the time to play ball with her. She's not fucking guilty about past shit. She just wants to play ball. Seems to be a simple request. And if I say no or yes, that's the way it goes. Yeah. It's not like rumination over it. I don't believe she ever thinks, I don't know how she is in there. I don't see her hating herself. I don't see the cat hating itself. I don't see fucking animals in the wild hating themselves. What the fuck is going on? I think hating oneself is purely the mental state, isn't it? Fuck, it's not on an instinctual level. You would think self-preservation would override hating yourself. Something is outsized. The mental condition has grown out of its proper condition, let's say. And it's all encompassing, seemingly. It's like a big balloon that's taking up a lot of space, but when you pop it, it never took up any space. It's just a fucking appearance in it, yeah? But when it's appearing, you got to tell the truth about it. And the truth will pop it, I feel. So this idea, I am my own worst enemy, I don't believe that anymore. Can you imagine living as that? Oh, I wake up every day and I'm my own worst enemy. Wow, Jesus Christ. I mean, your expectations are going to have to really get lower to meet that, yes? Or I have tons of hate for myself. I just don't believe this anymore. I'm so tired of these speculative conditions being seen as real, thrown around when they can be corrected quite easily. That which is hating is not you. Yeah. 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 Do you anger? Yeah. Hatred? Come on. I mean, the only place I feel I can hate is in sports, because it's fun. I hate the Boston Red Sox because I'm a Yankee fan. Yeah. That's hate. I hate the Los Angeles Lakers. And then in a weird way, I love the Boston Celtics. So I hate their baseball team, but I love their basketball teams. That's how it goes. Yeah. So when I'm watching a game, I hate the other team. That's it. Yeah. So, yeah. Do I go all day hating myself? Whatever. It's just insane. So, yeah. Thank you. I'm going on, but I appreciate this opportunity to share. And let's question some of this shit that just goes under the radar, but has so much influence. Yeah. 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 So, even these people that hate themselves, they love their dogs. Yeah. Yeah. They do. They usually have big pit bulls. I'm sure they love them or something, but they, yeah. What's with this? I hate everything. I don't believe that at all. I think the head says it hates everything. Yeah. And then, it manufactures that consent and then just riffs. And then maybe that person goes up for a 30-year prison sentence because he was very big. And when he hated someone, he hurt them. Yes. Yes. And he probably revisits that a lot of times and he realizes he didn't hate that person. Something came in and drove him to do some stupid shit. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going to keep coming back, I'd imagine, and just keep putting it out here. And yeah. I'm not persistent about anything but this. Yes, I am persistent about this because I really believe if you don't see it, you're going to look from it. And you may not like those effects from about that come from looking from it, but you won't know it's you looking from it. Yes, it's so crazy. All right.
Thank you for helping us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank everybody. I'm gonna, unless there's another, I'm gonna cut it off.
I think that's it for today, Paul. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful talk.
Well, you're welcome.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for giving me the opportunity to be here with you.
Well, yes, we're all there's a nice souffle is made in this little Zoom oven. Yeah, it's nice. So, John, thank you for the question and the share. Kathleen, nice job. Michael Stacy, I know, is lurking in his servitude, his service. John in Florida, good to see you, John. Curtsy, as always. Redondo Beach. Mickey, Matriarch of Madeira, Michael Stacy, Joseph, France, Jacob in the Hudson Valley. You may have to change Seattle soon, bro. You're not there. Yeah.
I'm visiting.
You're in Seattle now. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Rico Cruz. Nice to see you, Rico. You're a man of your word, Rico. You said you were going to come here, and you come here. That's pretty good. I like that. Tom in Denver. Nice to see Tom. As always, Mia. She's down south somewhere. Kerry, as always, he's in his house, I think, in Hawaii, underneath the deck, right underneath the ceiling. I like that. They weren't up when we were there baking them. No. Sean, we didn't make them. It's Judith mostly and you. Shannon Corkery, nice to see you as always. Chris B, always a pleasure. Chris B is living out of our silence. It's nice. He hasn't asked a question at all. It's good. Greg, Minneapolis with his friend. I hope Brian, right? I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah. We're hanging out at the hospital today.
Well, how are you, bro?
Honestly, not real great, but coming on here is a huge relief.
Oh, fantastic.
So and being with Brian is a tremendous support. So yeah, I'm really blessed, man. Thank you.
Well, we're all there with you, bro, too. Yeah, the space doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to put on a spacesuit here pretty soon and take the next big step for Greg.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well,
thank you.
You got a lot of hands you can hold. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jess, nice to see you, Jess. I'll be seeing you live soon. That'll be a joy. Nina, I know you're not thinking of going to Sicily, but you're going to be there, I'm pretty sure. Yes, just stop fighting it. Just go with the wind. It's so much good. It's so good for you. You blossom when you're outside your own little control zone. You do. It happens with many of us, but it's obvious with you when I see you. Walter, as always. Rick Rowe in Toronto. Nice to see Rick. Oliver in Berlin. We got Bitterman. He's doing well. David, I got your message, David. I should have addressed it today. I'll read it again and I'll address it somewhat at the next meeting. Yeah. On Saturday, if you get there. If not, we'll have to talk. I don't like typing too much. Okay. But I'll try to I'll read it and then on Saturday, I'll address it at some point. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever we go through, there's a principle in a sense. So, and sometimes it's better to see everything not through a myopic zoom, but a larger picture. Yeah. I like hovering in the principle area. Yeah. Just works better. Roman, as always, nice to see you, my friend. I'll be sitting. Remember, just sit on the other side of the bus. I like my own space over there. Okay. Lebowski, wherever you are, we're with you, bro. Let's go to number 2. We've got Christine. Yep. In Kona. Now it's Kayuap or something. Cassandra. Alex, iPhone. Oh, Alex, she's in the Hudson Valley, I guess. Sally, completely participating at all times. Grateful Dave. Lynn D. Oh, Lynn D. A nice sunflower. Nina, Rico, Jacob, everyone. Thanks so much. You know, you bring a lot of light into my life. It's nice. The Zoom, yes. It's like opening up a curtain, and it's a beautiful vista. A lot of nice vibes come through. It's nice. Thank you. Hey, I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.